You step off the jetway, glance back through the terminal window, and there it is. The plane you just flew in on, sitting at the gate, engines silent. And yet, something is off. The lights inside the cabin are still on. Air is still moving through the vents. Ground crews are working around it like it's fully awake. You assume that once those engines stop, the whole machine just rests, powers down, goes quiet. But here's what almost nobody notices. A parked airplane is not off. It has never been off. When a car parks, you turn the key and everything stops. The engine goes quiet, the lights cut out, the whole machine goes inert. That's the only comparison most people carry with them when they watch a commercial airplane pull into a gate, engines spooling down to silence. The assumption follows naturally. The flight is over, the engines are off, so the airplane must be off too. But here's the key point almost nobody notices. This comparison doesn't work at all. A car is a vehicle. An airliner is a vehicle, a building, a communications hub, and a power plant rolled into one. And almost none of those functions stop when the engines do. Think about what's still running the moment those engines go quiet. Cabin lighting stays on. Air conditioning keeps moving air through the fuselage. Cockpit avionics remain powered. Sensors, pumps, and ventilation systems stay active. Ground crews need powered doors, working communication lines, and functioning cargo systems just to do their jobs. The airplane, in every operational sense, is still wide awake. The engines stopped. The airplane didn't. So where is the power coming from? Here's what most people never think to ask. Tucked into the tail of nearly every commercial aircraft is a small turbine engine that passengers never see and rarely hear about, the Auxiliary Power Unit, or APU. It doesn't move the plane. It produces no thrust. What it does is run continuously on the ground, supplying electrical power, air conditioning, and the pressurized air needed to start the main engines when departure time comes. Airport planning guidance describes the APU as capable of providing electrical power, conditioning, and engine start support entirely on its own. Without it, the cabin goes dark, the air stops, the cockpit goes cold. The turnaround stops with it. There is an alternative. At most modern gates, a cable connects the airplane directly to the airport's electrical grid, ground power or external power. FAA airport guidance notes that airports install this infrastructure specifically to reduce how long aircraft run their APUs on the ground. Ground power is cleaner, quieter, and cheaper than burning jet fuel through the APU. When it's available and connected, the APU can shut down entirely. But not every gate has it. Not every connection happens immediately, and during certain ground operations, the APU runs regardless. A parked airplane is almost always drawing power from somewhere. That is, entirely by design. Now consider what's actually happening during a typical turnaround, and what would happen if the power went off. Fuel trucks connect to powered fueling systems. Cabin crews clean and restock under working overhead lighting. Catering vehicles load meals through powered door systems. In the cockpit, pilots begin pre-flight checks that require avionics to initialize, flight computers to load route data, and systems to run full diagnostics. None of this is fast. None of it works in the dark. A ground crew walking into an unpowered cabin in summer heat with no lighting and no air movement isn't facing a minor inconvenience. It's a working environment that fails immediately. Shut everything off during a turnaround, and you don't save a little energy. You make the next departure harder, slower, and riskier. Staying powered isn't optional. It is the job. Yes, the APU burns fuel. It produces emissions. Near terminal buildings, that matters. For air quality, for noise, for the people working the ramp every day. FAA materials describe aircraft electrical systems as drawing from engine-driven generators, the APU, and external ground power depending on the phase of operation. Airports have invested in gate power infrastructure precisely to cut APU runtime at the gate. In some regions, limits exist on how long an aircraft can idle its APU near a terminal. The industry is expanding electrified gates, improving ground power reliability, and slowly reducing dependence on onboard generation during turnarounds. It's a gradual shift, but it's underway. So the next time you look through a terminal window and see a parked airplane still glowing, still breathing, still humming with quiet activity, the scene means something different now. What looked like a machine at rest is a machine in transition, finishing one flight, preparing for the next, keeping every system alive in between. The engines are off, the airplane is not. And that constant, invisible activity is exactly what makes the next departure possible. If you found this interesting, leave a like and subscribe. It helps more content like this reach people who would never have thought to ask the question.